All right, everybody, welcome in. Fresh Takes, Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Next to me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Nick Felice. Nick, how you doing today?
I don't deserve that. You're the man, the myth, the legend
I don't know
himself.
about that.
Paul Russo. Welcome to Russo and Felice.
I didn't have a whole college campus chanting my name before. You did.
I did not have that.
I can't say that.
It's good to be back on the show. I think we're getting back to the weekly show, so it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Shout out Nate Sharman behind the scenes, manning the cameras, producing for us today. Going to be in a little bit of a different show, mainly football, and we're going to have to circle back, admittedly, to something, Nick, that you brought up last week in one discussion that we had.
What is that?
Well, Aaron Judge is still at 60 home runs.
Yes.
And I don't want to be that guy, but you made some reckless accusations last week.
I don't think reckless. I think appropriate is
the
more appropriate word.
But we will circle back because we are currently in one of the longest droughts that he's ever had this season. In terms of not hitting a home run, so.
Well, he heard me last week. Obviously, Aaron's a big viewer of the show,
a friend of the program.
He saw the show. He saw that I'm on to him, and he's laid off the roids a little bit this week. So, but also people are walking like 3 times a game, so it's kind of tough to hit a home run.
I don't think that's quite how it works exactly with the steroid front, but we'll circle back to that because we're going to start with the NFL, the main show, I suppose, on Earth at the moment.
Yeah.
Lot to kind of actually cover. It was a bit of an interesting week. Do want to start, obviously, at least in the local sense, with the Bills-Dolphins game. I know Nate probably justifiably roasted me upon entry into the studio for the way I phrased
did Nate write that?
No, I did that. I wrote that. Please credit Paul Russo for that. But, in the grand scheme of things, Tua did technically, I guess, outduel Josh Allen here for a minute.
I wouldn't say outdueled him, but
it was
not the phrase I would use.
It was an outdueling.
He had like 180 yards.
I mean, Aaron Burr defeated Alexander Hamilton in a duel. He outdueled him,
Sure.
So, look, I maybe you're right from the statistical standpoint, but we'll digress from that point in a minute, because I do want to discuss a couple interesting things here. Obviously, we'll start with the obvious here. Tua at the end of the first half just gets absolutely smoked.
Yeah, you really hurt his back.
Allegedly a back locked up.
Can't do that.
I'd be honest with you, if that's what a back locking up is, then I guess I'm at minimum a 2-time back locking up survivor in my life. But that dude definitely had no idea where he was in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, let's before we get into this game, we need to remember that Paul does live with a Dolphins fan.
That's true.
His brother. So I think
friend of the program.
So I think there's a little bit of a Dolphin bias in him.
No.
I think he's a big Dolphins guy over here.
Quite the opposite.
He is excited about him and his Dolphins and the Eagles, the lone 3-0 teams left in the league. Should be the Giants, but we know how that turned out. But this game was, the butt fumble, or not the butt fumble, the
butt punt.
The butt punt was pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of a weird situation. It was at the end of the game, big time moment. But
not to interrupt, I just don't understand how in that situation, with that obviously being a very possible thing, just snap it out of the back of the end zone. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or the guy could get out of the way, but.
Right.
Or don't punt it into the guy's butt.
Very true.
But, it was going to be tough for the Bills, hold, secondary out. So I think they did a pretty good job for going into the game with that. So
yeah,
they could easily won this game. Obviously it doesn't look good if you're a Bills fan and you use all these excuses about the weather and your injuries and stuff like that. And it was on the road, so it's going to be a real good, interesting test when the Dolphins do come up north to Buffalo because I'm assuming it's later in the season.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they'll get healthy. It'll be in their stadium, so it's going to be a real rematch type game.
The glorious butt punt. It was so humid in Miami, you can literally see the swamp ass.
It gets, it's not as big because the Dolphins did win the game.
Right. Right.
It's still something.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you can see on the screen.
If the Bills do get in field goal range and win that game, it's talked about even more, right?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Because it went through a 4-point game to a 2-point game.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge swing right there.
Now, that being said, Josh Allen does throw for 400 yards.
Whoa, he did?
Yeah.
He threw for 400? I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I don't agree with the outdoing.
Yes.
Well, hold
outdoing
on,
statement. I did not realize he threw that many
hold
yards.
on.
The Bills are 1-7 when Josh throws for 400 yards.
Josh Allen's QBR was a 60.4. Tua, who threw for 186 yards, QBR of 78.9. In an outright rating, Josh Allen had a 94.7. Tua had a 123.8.
Outduels.
So, I don't know. I do also want to discuss another game, obviously, in the NFL, specifically the Packers and Buccaneers in particular, because it ended up being, I wouldn't say maybe the most hyped game of the weekend, but because it was Rodgers versus Brady, it kind of obviously carried some weight to it. But, I've been riding. Well, I shouldn't say riding. I think we all know that I'm probably one of the bigger Aaron Rodgers haters ever. And look, to be fair, it's not like Brady's getting any younger at this point, but neither of them looked good in that game.
The Buccaneers games have been tough to watch.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it has to do with that offensive line. I mean, I know. Look, we'll shout out the pride of Hobart, Ali Marpet, retiring. I mean, he was about as good as an O-line as you could get. Excuse me. And they lost a couple other guys. I mean, this offensive line that they went into this Week 3 game with was not good.
No.
It was, I believe they only had one starter from Week 1 even in the lineup. So, let alone from last year. But, that being said, I mean, the way that we still talk about Brady and the way we talk about Rodgers, I mean, neither one of them looked anything like they usually do.
I'd like to see what Brady does, here. Because the only reason I think he still plays is because he's trying to get that undefeated season. So now that he's 2-1,
It's not going to happen this year.
It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So, he should just get over it and retire already. But
Well, that begs the question, right? And I'll jump headfirst into this. Are both over the hill officially at this point? I'll go ahead and say it. I think
Over
that
the
they
hill?
both are.
yeah, they're over the hill. I mean, they're not in their primes anymore. But I don't think they have been for at least a half decade, either one of them. Rodgers maybe. Brady has not. I mean, he won his Super Bowls, but back when
Right.
he's losing to the Giants all the time in February, that's when Brady was in his prime. So yeah,
That took me too long to realize what you said there, unfortunately.
yeah. Eli Manning beat him twice in his prime, so we'll leave it with that.
Yeah.
But no, they're definitely over the hill. But they're so good. They're great quarterbacks that they can play at this age to still be productive. Even though it didn't really look like it on Sunday, but yeah, I think they're over the hill. But they're still the best at what they do.
I don't know about that. The best portion of it.
I mean, they're not the best today.
They're
But
one of the top.
they're one of the best of all
32
time. Yeah,
of, today, but
they're arguably 2 top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
I don't know about the Rodgers one. I don't know about the Rodgers one, but
I would agree with that, Nick.
Thank you.
Certainly.
not there.
Top
we
10?
go.
RELAX, Paul.
Relax.
Two-time reigning MVP.
2-time reigning freaking hippie of the year. Another game that we should discuss quickly is the Chiefs just absolutely getting upset by the Colts.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming at all.
No, I mean this is I've been
Vegas won a lot of money on that
the
game.
past 2 weeks. I've been riding this entire Matt Ryan's cook train.
Is he over the hill?
And yes, to be fair, Matt Ryan is over the hill. I'm not going to deny that fact. But It was a rough game. I think you saw a lot of glaring issues specifically with the Chiefs that kind of popped up, right? Sky Moore, obviously with the special teams issues. Yeah. I think, and this isn't a knock on Juju Smith-Schuster at all, but because like I drafted him in fantasy in one league knowing that he's going to de facto be their number one receiver. But if he's your number one guy, I'm not sure.
That's a knock on him.
Well, yeah, I guess in a way, but I'm not sure where it kind of stands in a way.
You don't like his TikToks?
I don't think I've ever seen a TikTok of his, to be honest. Nate got me addicted to TikTok like 3 months ago, so I don't know how far this Chiefs team can go. Like, they were another one of the teams, right, that a lot of people kind of took as being one of the Super Bowl favorites with the Bills and with the Chargers in the AFC.
I'll ask you this.
And I don't know. I don't think that they are at this point.
I'll ask you this. Are the Dolphins better than the Chiefs?
I'd say at this point, yeah.
And obviously, I think you'll say the Bills are better than the Chiefs.
Yes, 100%.
How many more teams are you saying are better than the Chiefs in the AFC?
I still think Baltimore, even though they've had their admitted struggles.
But can Baltimore win a Super Bowl?
I mean, Baltimore I picked to reach a Super Bowl out of the AFC in a couple different spots.
I think people can say the Ravens are better, but obviously I would have to say the Chiefs got a better shot at winning the Super Bowl over the Ravens because I just don't think Lamar Jackson can win a Super Bowl. He's a great quarterback. I don't know. I just don't think he is. He's like Dak Prescott, great quarterback, but never going to win a Super Bowl. And that's in my opinion, obviously.
I mean, it's an interesting spot that the Chiefs do find themselves in. I don't think they're mid-pack in the AFC, but I don't think they're top three. So I don't know if they're necessarily top five even.
So you would still say they're a playoff team?
Yeah. I think the way the West is playing out, they are at this point. I mean, the Raiders moved 0-3. Obviously, the Chiefs dropped to 2-1. You have the Chargers 1-2, and you have the Broncos 2-1. But I don't expect the Broncos thing to ride out.
Bengals are 1-2.
They have a lot of glaring issues, right? Yeah, and then you look at, say, via wild cards. I mean, there's just a lot. I mean, the wild card is going to be a mess and a half this year.
I mean, there's 15 weeks to go still.
Right. But I mean, if you look at like the wild card already, it's going to be a mess and a half, I think. Just based on kind of what we're seeing. I mean, the Jaguars, who I expected to be better. I didn't expect them to be maybe this good initially off the bat. I didn't expect 2-1 to start the year out of them.
Doug Peterson, I think, needs to get a little bit more credit.
He's not a bad coach. Again, to go back to a further point a couple of years ago, he was the fall guy for an Eagles team rather that had more glaring issues than him at head coach. I think he was put in a position that he was kind of like doomed to be fired in a way.
And Trevor Lawrence,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? Is I know people can say a lot about him, and there's still some things in the pro game he needs to work on, but I mean, if he can be the East Coast version of Justin Herbert, that's not a bad option to have.
Yeah.
So, I'd say that pretty much kind of wraps up.
But also, Justin Herbert was, dealing with stuff. That wasn't the Justin Herbert out there. I can't believe he even played.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting deal, especially given the Chargers doctors' history in the past year.
Yeah, shout out Tyrod.
Yeah, we got a minute or so here before we jump into our picks. Your Giants, a little bit of a down
Thought
game.
they were going to pull it out.
But,
really did.
I mean, the Cowboys,
defensively, they just sucked.
Despite the Cowboys winning, right, they kind of left the Giants in it. And I still like seeing everything I like from the Giants. A little bit of a downer, Sterling Shepard out for the year more than likely here. And
Kenny Galladay's out for the year.
Yeah, so Kadarius Toney's time to shine.
Kenny Galladay's not hurt, but he is out for the year because he doesn't do he doesn't
Whoa.
he doesn't do anything, so he sucks. I don't know what happened to him, man. Maybe Matthew Stafford's better than we think. maybe he is. He could give him the ball, or Daniel Jones just sucks. I don't want to admit that, but
Nah, Danny Dimes does not suck yet. Can't go that far yet. I need to see him more in Daboll's system.
it's rough. But Saquon's healthy. That's good. That's a
Saquon's
plus.
looking good, man. I tell you what. Like, if Saquon's healthy, that changes the game entirely for them.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to our predictions and picks for Week 4.
Oh, actually, one more thing.
Go ahead.
One more thing I gotta
Go
add.
ahead. The floor is yours.
Speaking of the Cowboys, do you think there's going to be a quarterback competition?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Nate, do you think there's going to be a QB comp in Dallas in a couple weeks?
Absolutely not. Dak comes back. That's his job.
All right. That's where I kind of lean.
I don't know. You've been thinking. You just thought about it for a little bit there. I think yeah.
I think part of it's because I think McCarthy wants there to be a quarterback comp, but I think Jerry just assumes play Dak. So.
Well, Dak is the one that's making the money. I don't know how much.
I think don't get me wrong.
Cooper Rush is making. But
Don't get me wrong. Dak's world's better quarterback than Cooper Rush, but I just think the way the Cowboys kind of operate, that's what they want.
All right, let's talk about these first place Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins Thursday night. They're on the road against the Bengals.
I think they lose their first game of the year this week. I think the Bengals get back to 500 or get to 500.
Yeah,
for the first time.
Dolphins are a 4-point dog per.
Really?
Yeah, per the book that is on the ESPN website. I'm gonna go Bengals as well, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Dolphins come away with a victory in the
It's
slightest.
always tough with the short week. You don't know what type of team you're going to be.
Yep. 9:30 a.m. We have our first England game of the season at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. The Vikings are the de facto road team against the de facto home team, New Orleans Saints.
Yes, if you're playing fantasy football, please,
Adjust accordingly.
Get to bed a little earlier on Saturday night, because unless you set your lineup, but you never know, late game, late decision injuries, stuff like that. So 9:30, I'm going with the Saints.
I want to go Saints, but I can't. I gotta go Minnesota.
Jaguars.
I gotta go Minnesota. Yeah. That is weird now that you bring it up. They aren't the first England game of the year.
Well, it is their home turf.
Yeah.
It will be.
But I gotta go Vikings. Just the body of work for them is a little bit better so far this year, and in situations like that, I'll take the safe route, I guess, in a way. I'm not a fan.
Are the Vikings good?
I don't know.
They got some players on that team, but your boy
Yeah.
Kirk, Captain Kirk, running that team.
The 1 p.m. games. Here we go. The Cleveland Browns on the road against the Falcons.
Oh man.
I gotta go. It's weird. I think at the beginning of the year I might have even leaned Falcons, even though I think they're absolute
Here's what I'll say.
booty. But I'm going Browns.
I actually looked up Marcus Mariota in fantasy yesterday, and he's actually done a pretty good job.
Well, the tough spot for him, at least passing wise, he only has 3 touchdowns. That's the tough spot.
I like the Falcons at home. I think it's still a tough place to play. Cleveland, I don't think is as good, especially not with Jacoby Brissett. Please, give me the Falcons.
I'm gonna go Browns. It's kind of like the Minnesota game and Saints game. I'll go with the better body of work here. There's a lot of toss-up games.
Tough road.
There's a lot of toss-up games this week in the NFL, in my mind, to be honest with you. If you were to ask me tomorrow, I might change my answers completely.
Yeah.
Um,
But if you really want to know, we are both not watching that game.
no. The Commanders are on the road against Dallas. A 1 p.m., a rare 1 p.m. game in Dallas, is how I'll call it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Going Washington because I don't like Dallas.
I want to take my beloved Commanders here.
Beloved.
But
You still love them.
Gosh. As Hank would say, you can't do it. I gotta go Washington.
You can't do it.
I can't do it. I'd rather just take the L but not say it. So
You just physically can't.
I can't do it. I might be like repulsing on TV, live television, live internet streaming. The Seahawks at the Lions, still in the 1 o'clock window here.
Lions. I'm just thinking. They're playing well, but will they be over 500 by Thanksgiving? I don't know.
They gotta do it for the turkey.
They got to win this one, so I'm going Lions.
I'm on Lions as well. This is a game early on and we'll get to another team like this in a second, but you look at the top passer, top rusher, top receiver in the game, all coming from the same team in Detroit. Can't say that for many other teams in this week matchup-wise. So I know probably pains Matt a little bit here that both of us are doing this, but I got to go Lions. Dan Campbell's a different animal. Those dudes love playing for him.
Geno Smith actually played well last week,
Yeah.
but he's a different animal, and he doesn't belong as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Indianapolis, they're home, riding high off that win against in-division opponent, the Tennessee Titans.
It's a tough one because it is at Indy.
Yeah.
I mean, Indy was supposed to be decent
This
year.
potentially could have the biggest rock fight of the NFL season so far happen in this game.
I think Derrick Henry gets a game-winning overtime touchdown. So I'm going Titans. I think it's going to be a great game.
I hate following you as much because we don't have the why yet, but I'm following you here. I got to go Titans.
Thank you.
It's interesting, though, in this situation, Indianapolis does have the top passer, top rusher, and top receiver in the game.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, another situation where that follows, the Bears travel to New York to take on your G-men, the Giants. Giants in this game have the top passer, rusher, and receiver as well.
I'm going Giants in this game because quarterbacks are not great in this game. They're not the best. I mean, Fields still, yet to be determined, but Daniel Jones has slightly been determined. But I'm going Giants at home.
I guess I will have to follow you again. I'm taking the G-men.
Why?
I like the way that they play.
What do you like about
Brian Dable, look, the more that offense gets going with his scheme, the better off they're going to be. I'll call him. I said it in the preseason. I know it's going to make skin crawl here for two of you, but Daniel Jones has the real possibility of becoming a version of Josh Allen in Dable's system. And I think the more he gets into that system, the better off he's going to feel comfortable and the better off they're going to be. So, and to be fair, the Giants' defense is sneaky good. They play tough. They bend, they don't break, and that's sometimes all you need in the NFL. So, to that end, Justin Fields has not looked great so far either.
No.
So, Jaguars at the Eagles. Revenge game for Doug Peterson.
Who are you going with?
It pains me to do this. I got to go Birds. I think I got to go Eagles.
Why, Paul?
They're the better collective team in this
They
game.
are at home, I'll give you that. But Carson Wentz could not get that revenge. But did Carson Wentz win that Super Bowl? No. Doug Peterson won that Super Bowl with Nick Foles. So it's not Carson Wentz to get the revenge over the Eagles. We saw that last week. It is Doug Peterson to get that revenge over the Eagles. And that's what's going to happen this week when the Jaguars go up north to probably the most disgusting city in the world, in Philadelphia, and they are going to beat them and end their undefeated season.
Yeah, I'd agree, but I mean, your early season MVP, Jalen Hurts, has been.
Jalen Hurts is not winning MVP.
He's up there. He can't deny what he's done.
It is week 4. Hasn't even started yet.
Speaking of week 4 shenanigans, just like we all expected, Joe Flacco, one of the top passers in the NFL.
Oh, I saw that coming.
The Jets are heading to Pittsburgh.
Heading up to not Heinz Field.
Yeah. It still is Heinz to us.
What's the over-under in this game, 23?
40.5.
Well, I think it's going to be about 23. It's going to be a low-scoring game. And I think the Steelers win this game 13-10.
Do I do it? I think I have to. I'll do the Jets.
Why?
I don't know. Call it the hunch.
You don't like the Steelers?
I'll go Jets. I don't like picking, the Jets either.
Who's quarterback?
Is Zach Wilson back?
Nah, well, he could be back, but Flacco's listed right now as number 1.
Flacco's top 5 in MVP votes.
Yeah, I thought maybe they were targeting week 4, but I can't remember.
They were targeting week 4, but I haven't heard anything all week, so I don't know. All right, big game. I'm right, Nate. We're gonna give Nate Sharman his 2 minutes of the fastest 2 minutes of Nate Sharman here.
Oh, it's a huge game.
Bills at the Ravens. How you feeling, Nate, about this? Because this is a big kind of potential, January game right here.
Yeah, hopefully they can bounce back this week. Some tough injuries last week, especially playing in that hot Miami sun. So hopefully they can kind of bounce back. The Ravens are, like you said, Paul, awesome, but that defense worries me. I think they should be able to take them down. It's going to be tough in Baltimore, though, especially the way Lamar's playing.
That is going to be tough. But I have not picked the Bills very often on this show. But I'm going to pick them today. I think they go into Baltimore. Josh Allen plays a great game. Hopefully to Gabe Davis this week. I was a little disappointed by that. I got him in 3 leagues. So let's go to Gabe this week. And, I think they get a big win, big bounce-back win in Baltimore.
Nate, I appreciate you going with the head-on shot here because I need it for this. You see these colors, Nick, and everybody watching, Nate. You see these colors, blue and red.
Yeah, why would we do that?
Blue and red. Those colors don't run. Nobody circles the wagons like Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, what is this? Bills colors.
I like the red and white. I like the red and blue. It's America as well, brother.
I must have missed that meeting.
Last of the 1 o'clock games, Chargers at Texans.
Chargers at Texans.
Mm-hmm. It's been a rough go of things for the Davis Mills truthers out there like myself.
I think what is holding the Chargers back is their head coach, because he's a terrible coach.
Are you sure it's not rib cartilage holding them back at the moment?
That guy is crazy. I'm pretty sure he goes for
yeah, Staley's nuts.
4th down in their own 20-yard line. So it's they're on the road this week, but it's the Texans. Give me the Texans. Give me Houston.
I'll go Chargers. I'll ziggly zag. All right, now we entered the late window. The lone 4:05 kickoff, though. Cardinals at the Panthers.
You hate to be the 405 because they think your game sucks. But Cardinals, Panthers, give me Kyler Murray.
I think in another scenario I'd agree with you, Nick, but the Cardinals have done nothing for me this year. I was expecting a little bit more from them out of the gate.
They beat the 0-3 Raiders.
So did the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to go Panthers here. Panthers. I like the Panthers defense. I love.
No. You love Baker
they're a rowdy
Mayfield.
bunch.
Just tell me.
They're a rowdy
you
bunch.
love Baker Mayfield.
I actually love Chuba Howard because when Christian McCaffrey inevitably gets hurt next week.
Baker Mayfield will be out of the league in 2 years.
Oh, gosh. You need to stop. Oh, look, we got some passing stats.
And there he
here.
is, 32nd.
Rough scenes for my Davis Mills truthers out there like myself right now.
Before the show, Nate was telling me you're a big Mac Jones fan. Why?
I wouldn't say I'm a big Mac Jones fan, but he gets the job done.
25th best.
And look who's right above him in 24th.
I didn't say anything about Carson Wentz. I'm just saying you think Mac Jones is good.
So, anyway, that's interesting. Where's Aaron Rodgers on that list? I didn't see him. He's 15th, and I saw Brady was, 17th or 16th, right? So,
is this QBR in the year or last week?
This is on the year.
So, yeah. I mean, that's...
Geno Smith, 10th.
Jacoby Brissett, 9th. What on earth is going on this year?
Look at that.
Two on.
Two and on.
Two and on.
Jared Goff, good.
Josh Allen, good.
Well, we know Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts 5th.
Jacoby Brissett.
All right, we got a rapid pick here. These final games, unfortunately. Patriots at the Packers, 4:25.
Patriots at the Packers. Ooh, it's Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers again.
Yeah.
Going Packers.
If Mac Jones was healthy, I think I'd go Pats here, but he's not. Gotta go Packers.
That's the reason.
Yes. Broncos at the Raiders, 4:25.
Raiders get their first win.
I agree. I think this is must win. If they don't win this week anyway, that's
Josh McDaniels is gone.
I don't know about that, but
man, he's a terrible head coach.
Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at the Buccaneers. Which could be played in Minnesota.
What? Oh,
because of the hurricane. Yeah, they don't know where they're playing yet. There should be an announcement today. Obviously, this is Wednesday.
I don't know.
There should be an announcement at some point this afternoon.
Brady owns Mahomes, so I'm going Bucks.
I'm gonna go Chiefs. I think.
Did you just hear me? I said Brady owns Mahomes.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you, gentlemen, but we do have a comment. Ben, YouTuber, do we like Carr or Lawrence this week?
Ooh, in terms of, I'm guessing fantasy would be the.
Yeah, he didn't specify,
Yeah,
but I'm sure that's
I'm
what it
assuming
means.
fantasy. Carr's obviously home, so that proves to be a bit of a plus. Obviously, you're in a dome. That kind of helps as well. I've always preferred that.
We appreciate the comment, and we are going to go with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Ben, it's weird. I kind of feel better with Lawrence at the moment until.
Derek Carr is 0-3.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, record-wise, yeah, but.
Because of Josh McDaniels.
It's definitely closer than I think than we think here.
Derek Carr throws for a lot of yards, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got.
Broncos defense tough.
I mean, yeah, Carr's 73 for 120 on the year, 850 yards, 6 touchdowns, and I know Lawrence isn't quite that.
Oh, he specified, said fantasy, yes, but he's also a Raiders fan. Both for some tough
okay.
defenses.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go Carr this week just to be safe, I think.
And Paul, please tell the audience what your fantasy football record is currently.
1-2.
1-2. 1-2. Well,
I'm also 1-2, so not a great fantasy advice podcast, I'm guessing.
What are you gonna do? But yeah, that's a good question, Ben. It's a little bit of a toss-up, but I'd probably go Carr. And I mean, Nick would go Lawrence.
I'll go Lawrence. I
don't
think the Broncos are going to be tough this week. I'm sorry about your Raiders. I think they're going to get the win, but fantasy-wise, I wouldn't go Carr.
All right. So yeah, we did Sunday night. So Monday night, Rams at 49ers.
Going Rams.
Yeah, I'm going Rams as well, I think. Slightly better at this point. I think they're probably feeling a little bit better about themselves and not running out of the back of end zones.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky, baby.
So, all right, let's transition here over to the MLB quickly. Aaron Judge watch, still at 60 home runs.
Yeah. It's a tragic.
It literally has been a week. It's, I believe, now the second longest stretch he's had a game so far this season without hitting a home run.
What's up with him? Nervous?
Well, this is, I think, a little bit of a discussion we could have for a couple minutes here, right? It's, are the nerves getting to him? You brought a good point up at the beginning. At the beginning, when we first got in here, right, a little bit about how, yeah, he hasn't hit one, but he also is getting walked like 3 times a game.
Yes.
So let's go with the mental aspect of it first a little bit here. I definitely do think it's probably weighing slightly on him, and I guess we'll double up this portion of it is, in your mind, do the Yankees clinching the AL East last night kind of help a little bit with that? Because we know how some players can be different from others, but Judge certainly does lean on the team first side of things.
Yes, because when he hit that 60th home run against my beloved Pittsburgh Pirates, he was not very happy, hitting that 60th home run because they were losing the game at the time. Even they came back and won. So, yeah, you're right. So he definitely leans on the team more than himself, which is what you want out of a player, especially a player that's fighting for a contract this year. So, I think it might help. We'll find out, these next week. If it is next week and he still hasn't hit one, it makes you wonder if he ever hit one again for at least this season. And playoff home runs do not count, right?
No, they do not.
They do not. So this is the regular season here. But, people the other teams have the right to not pitch to him. I don't know why they've been pitching to him all season long after the first 60 home runs. So, nobody wants to be that guy that gives it up. Majority of the time, people don't remember the guy that gives it up. Some people, if people like baseball trivia and stuff like that, know that stuff. But nobody wants to be that guy to give it up. So whoever's next up to pitch to Judge, it's more than likely he's going to see at least 2 to 3 balls, potential another walk. So it's going to be tough for him. I think the nerves are definitely gone, but he's still got to go out and do it.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of that, we'll do a little bit of trivia here.
Okay.
Who was the pitcher who gave up Barry Bonds' 756th home run?
I don't even know who the team was.
The Washington Nationals.
Really?
Remember just how bad they were in that time.
Was it a starter?
No.
Was it a closer?
I don't know about closer.
I do
Probably
not know. I don't even have a guess.
Nate, any idea? Any shot in the dark?
No.
We're looking for Mike Baksick.
Oh,
Mike
man.
Bates.
I had that right on the tip of my tongue.
Well, it brings up a good point, right? Is I don't think anybody wants to be that note in history that you were the guy who gave up hit milestone X or anything.
Now I
like
got to
that,
ask you,
but
Paul. 61's the record, right?
61 would tie, 62 would break.
Isn't 62 bigger than 61?
Yes, correct.
So what's with the nerves? Tie it up, man.
Yeah, you bring up a good point to me, especially after obviously watching the games and the at bats. I mean, they're not giving him a ton of pitches. Some of these pitchers, I think the only one who really has outright challenged him. And last night I didn't watch the game. I was at a game, but the night before Kevin Gausman was going at him pretty good. But again, Gausman was pretty much putting everything low in the zone and forcing him if he was going to swing at junk. So it's tough.
How many more games
weird.
left?
It's weird. I think there are. I believe there's only another 7 or so. Could be wrong, give or take. We got one more in Toronto tonight, and then tomorrow travel on Thursday, I believe. Yeah, and then home against Baltimore. So we got 2.
It could come then this weekend.
3, 4. So we got 4 more this week, and then they finish out the season in Texas next week with 4 games. So
8 games.
8 games total left
Wow.
to get 2.
Is he getting an off day anytime soon here?
I'm guessing will give him one. I think Boone was kind of leaning on doing that at some point.
But the end goal is still to get ready for the playoffs.
I think I wouldn't expect to see that until probably the Texas series because they do have an off day tomorrow. So, but I do think clinching kind of helps a little bit. The mental side kind of takes the toll off a little bit. They're kind of now they're landlocked into the 2 seed. They aren't going to go higher. They aren't going to go lower, obviously, because of Cleveland with the AL Central, and they aren't going to be able to catch Houston in the West. So they're kind of landlocked in that 2 seed. You get home field for the ALDS.
Will we catch Bonds' record?
756 or 73. He will not get to 73 unless he just hasn't.
Why doesn't Pujols play a couple more years? He could be the all-time home run leader.
He'd need a lot more juiced baseballs, I think, to help with that.
Now I have a conspiracy on the
conspiracy
700
theory.
home run. So he played for the Dodgers last year, right?
Oh, I see where this is going.
And they lost that game 11-0. I think the Dodgers, they had everything locked up. I think they threw that game. And
They threw that game.
11-0 they lost. It just so happened Pujols hits 2 home runs in the game. First 2 at-bats of the game. Knowing the LA mindset, New York guy, they wanted him to hit his 700 home run in LA because everything has to happen in LA. So he played for the Dodgers last year. I think they threw him a couple meatballs there to help make sure it happened then.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think they threw that game and they gave him a 700 home run so it can happen in LA.
I'm liking your baseball hot takes the past couple of weeks.
Yeah,
It gets the people going.
Yeah, thank you. So they threw him, but I appreciate it because if he didn't hit him there, he was going to hit him in the last 6 games against the Pirates. But so he'll get up to about 704. He plays 6 straight games against the Pirates to close out the season, so he's going to get up to about 704, 705. I can guarantee you that. Will he catch Roof? No. He will not catch Roof. That is still 14 more home runs. But the Dodgers gave him.
It'd be tough. Yeah.
Dodgers threw him a couple of meatballs.
Okay. Let's before we head out of here, let's touch on some college football stuff quickly. Obviously, the big headline locally, and in my heart specifically, Syracuse top 25 team,
25th
in the Coaches Bowl. So no love in the AP just yet. The AP, they got 22 collective votes. That means, I believe, was a couple people ranked them at about 20th or 21st. I can't remember the exact scoring,
bogus.
but
they're a top 25 team.
Yeah, I mean, I will lean on the coaches and the people in the know a little bit here, more than anybody else. And it's pretty cool. It was admittedly a bit of some scary hours in the Dome Friday night, the way that game kind of played out, especially in the second half. I'm just intrigued, I guess, by your outsider perspective on this with this team at this point, because I'm, again, cautiously optimistic here with them a little bit. I think they're good. I do think they end up going bowling now at this point, but I could definitely see them going
bowling,
finishing 7-5.
They only have to win 2 more games. They
Right.
better go bowling.
What I'm saying is, though, most teams, when you go to 4-0 to start the year, you tend to get to 8, 9 wins, potentially 10. But this is a team I could easily see just kind of pulling into the New Mexico Bowl at 7-5.
When's the Clemson game?
15th? No, that's the NC State game.
I know the Notre Dame game is
22nd.
I know the Notre Dame game is Halloween weekend.
Yes.
So those are the two big. Those are their granddaddy of them all this season.
Yeah.
You know, they can win any other game this season, but Clemson and Notre Dame is what separates them from the men to the boys, as they would say.
Right.
So, you know, it's going to be...
Yeah, Clemson the 22nd.
Okay, NC State's going to be a good game. But the NC State is NC State. They are not Clemson and my beloved Notre Dame. But, so they play oh, my goodness. That's their next 3 games?
Yeah.
Whoa.
With a bye week.
A
bye week.
The next 6 are against ranked teams, but one of them, the only unranked, is Notre Dame.
Wagner.
No, after Wagner. Forget about the Wagner game.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Is that the rest of the schedule?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, they might not go bowling.
They'll go bowling.
Oh, they better.
If they don't beat at minimum out of the rest of the way, hypothetically, if they go into that Boston College game 5-6 and they don't beat Boston College, I want Dino fired on the tarmac in Boston.
Wow. Dude, they could finish 6-6, which is bowling.
But that's what I'm saying, right?
They could be 5-6 by that BC game.
But that's exactly what I'm telling you. Is this team, the way they've been playing, it gives me strong we just pulled into the New Mexico Bowl at 7-5.
I'll tell you right now, they'll beat Florida State.
Wow.
At the Dome, they'll get that one. They could beat Notre Dame. I don't see it, but they could.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'm like I said, cautiously optimistic with this team. I think Garrett Schrader,
he should be
he is willing this team on offense a little bit. Gadsden's really great. I think he's going to be playing Sundays in the NFL.
But here's the good news about that schedule. Yeah. They do go undefeated. They're in the college football playoff.
I don't know about that.
Are you kidding me? If they win all those games, they're
You mean to tell me that they would...
And the ACC championship.
I don't want to be that guy. But
they're in the college football playoff. They won all those games.
They got to... I mean, there's better teams ahead of them, like USC, for example.
I don't care.
Who's outside looking in.
I don't care. They win all those games, they're in.
All right, fair enough. Just another, I guess, couple things I want to mention about college football. Are we prepared to have Urban Meyer back in our lives as a coach? Or
no, he can go.
Okay. Because Nebraska is very confusing. I don't know if they're going to go the Matt Campbell route. I don't know if they're going to go the Urban Meyer route. Just some baffling stuff there. Again, a team that thinks that it's 1992 still and they can live off of that, and they just can't.
No, we're not doing that.
No. Yeah, other than that, it was a quietish week. Couple upsets. Miami getting upset by Middle Tennessee. This week's an interesting week. There's not a super ton. Usually Friday we have a couple good games. There's really only one, and that's 15th ranked Washington at UCLA, both 4-0.
Yeah.
But I'd probably anticipate Washington beating them. Like, I don't know. Penix is a really good quarterback. You want to talk about a guy who is probably going to get put into a shadow a little bit because of being out on the West Coast. Penix is that. Like, he's really, really good. Obviously, Syracuse, they play 5 o'clock. That's a rough game for the fans against an FCS opponent. I'm kind of surprised. I know game day is going to the NC State Clemson game. If I were them, I would have gone to probably Kentucky Ole Miss. For 7th ranked Kentucky at number 14th Ole Miss, that would be an absolute wild game to attend at the Grove. Absolute wild game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a couple like kind of good games kind of sprinkled into a couple spots. Texas Tech and Kansas State both 3-1. K-State's ranked in the AP, but not in the coaches. Texas Tech probably should be ranked in both, and they aren't.
Georgia State, Auburn, or
Army.
Army.
Yeah. So there's there are good games to be found. Alabama's at Arkansas, but I anticipate
Just bring the Ohio State one.
Ohio State is they're a 40.5-point favorite against a 3-1 Rutgers team, so it should be interesting there.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit. Let's see those orange. There they are.
We're living large, baby. Living
Oh
large.
my goodness, there's so many points behind 24th.
But yeah, Florida State's another good game this week in the ACC. Other than that, you got some decent MAC games if you get crazy like that, like me. Georgia Southern, you want to talk about a good Fun Belt game, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, it's a good one. You guys better not miss it.
Hey, I'm all about the Fun Belt, baby. So, and there are a couple other good games, like I said. They're kind of sprinkled into a couple spots. Mentioned NC State Clemson already. Like you mentioned, Nick, it's a bit of a quiet-ish week on the college front game-wise.
Yeah.
So, plenty to watch. I know for those that do care and are definitely down on the gambling side of things, USF's game, they're still playing Saturday, but it's been moved from Raymond James in Tampa to Boca Raton. They're playing at FAU Stadium. Florida, they're home against Eastern Washington. That game is now Sunday, as is the SMU-UCF game. That got moved from Saturday to Sunday as well because of the Hurricane Ian movement that hopefully, first and foremost, I know I got some family friends down there. I know you do as well, Nick, and Nate, I know you do as well down that way. Hopefully everybody, if you're listening, you're watching, somehow stay safe. This stuff is no joke. This is about as strong a hurricane the Gulf side of Florida has seen in quite some time.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So that will end on that note, a bit of a, I guess, more somber one, but either way, it's much needed to get that out there. So that'll take care of it for today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Nick, who are you shouting out today?
Fantasy hockey right around the corner.
That's true. Yes.
You joined the preseason hockey.
Yep.
I'm going to shout out
Go Bolts.
a guy in our league, Mike Freeman. Justin Kiefer's friend. Mike, was the runner-up last season, so should be a good season. Shout out Mike.
All right. That'll do it for Fresh Takes for today. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll be back again next week. Watch live anytime on YouTube. Catch up anytime on there. You can also catch us on Anchor, Spotify, a couple other major podcasting platforms. Nate Sharman, producer. Appreciate him as always. And we will talk with everybody again next week. Have fun. Go Bills, Washington, Giants.